You may print the sheet out.
Yeah, no, let's
When did you send it, on Friday? I still have 10.
Okay, I'll remember most of it, and we'll catch up next week if I miss it.
When did you send it?
Huh?
When did you send it? Friday?
No, I sent it Tuesday.
No, Bill.
Yeah,
I don't know that. No.
I did.
If you send it Friday, I'm not at work, so I don't print.
Didn't it?
Oh, get it.
Huh?
I got 10, and I got every other conversation we've had this week, but I don't have any 11.
Ooh, you got showed up, buddy.
11
11
I
came.
printed it off.
I got 11.
You got it
Yeah.
printed off?
Yeah, I didn't get it printed off, but I haven't been home all week because I've been at the fair. So
Yeah,
I hadn't had
Alicia,
time to do
when we
it.
were sitting, when we were sitting Wednesday night, when we were sitting, waiting for supper to start in Bible school, Alicia asked me what the answer to question 1 was, because she had gotten it at work, and they were discussing it at work, and they were, and they couldn't figure out what the answer to question 1 was.
Well, Faith did not know who
I
her
sent it on
husband was.
Tuesday.
I know.
I know I normally wait till the last minute, but I sent it on Tuesday. Because I was talking to Alicia about it Wednesday.
You hear, John?
Can you send it again?
Sure.
I can forward it to you too if you need me to.
Okay, chapter 11. Now that we're done.
Oh, we didn't miss any of it?
We just started,
Just started.
just in time. We were waiting for you, Zach.
Aw.
Awesome.
I knew you were doing important stuff.
How'd they do?
Good, and there's
None of
like
us
5 of them that
any of
wasn't
it,
there
so
for any of
you got
it,
it.
so help them out.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to include them.
Well, Danielle, Rissa,
Wynn.
Wynn,
Yeah, great.
none of them were there for it.
Yeah, we'll.
Did
They
Gabe
had
come
to work
today?
and stuff.
Yeah.
It wasn't like they couldn't. It wasn't like they didn't want to do it.
He had the last.
Okay, 11, 1 through 6.
I was given a reed like a measuring rod and was told, go and measure the temple of God and the altar and count the worshipers there. But exclude the outer court, do not measure it, because it has been given to the Gentiles. They will trample on the holy city for 42 months. And I will give power to my 2 witnesses, and they will prophesy for 1260 days, clothed in sackcloth. These are the 2 olive trees and the 2 lampstands that stand before the Lord of the earth. If anyone tries to harm them, fire comes from their mouths and devours their enemies. This is how anyone who wants to harm them must die. These men have power to shut up the sky so that it will not rain during the time they are prophesying, and they have power to turn the waters into blood, and to strike the earth with every kind of plague as often as they want.
Okay.
Wow.
What is, when you find the measuring rod or the word rod in the Bible, what is it usually referring to? Pardon me?
Discipline.
Discipline? I got 1 for discipline. Anybody else?
Stick. A stick. A stick. Is it a measuring rod or they just use it?
Measuring rod, but what are they measuring?
Oh, your
That's
faith.
exactly right, but what are they measuring?
Your faith.
Yeah, faith. They're measuring, they're seeing if you measure up, or if the temple is measured up. And Zach is exactly right. It's about discipline or punishment. Okay, perfect answer. Perfect answer. And what are they measuring? They're measuring me. They're measuring, and in this case, they're measuring the temple. Now, when we get to these days and we're in that final Laodicean church and they're lukewarm and doing whatever the world wants them to do, how do you think they're going to measure up? They're not. They're not going to measure up. And then the discipline's going to come. God is going to punish them for not sticking with the Word of God. Now, I'm not talking about every church. This church is unique for sure. You go to 90% of the churches in Orange County, and the youngest guy sitting out there is 62 years old, and he's the youngest, and there's only 9 of them. That's why we have all these 20-some Methodist churches in my delivery area. They got old and grumpy and didn't like each other, so they're sitting there by themselves. Young people come in and try to bring life into the church. We ought to say hallelujah, not, oh, no, not again. Amen? If the youngest guy sitting in the pew is 57 years old, what's my future look like? We gotta have the kids, and we gotta be training them to take over, and they gotta pick up the gauntlet and run with it, and we have to let them.
If the youngest guy sitting there is in his 50s, the church ain't doing their job.
Say again?
If the youngest guy in there is in his 50s, the church ain't doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Not doing what it's supposed to be doing, it doesn't have a future. There are not, I've only been in one other church in Orange County that got young people like we do. The rest of them are fizzling out. And one day they'll be empty. So he measures them, and why does he say don't measure the Gentile court? Why do you think he says that?
Because it's not in the church? Because it's not in the temple?
Right, it's not in there anymore. When Jesus Christ died for the sins, he died for the sins of the world, and there's no longer any separation between the Gentiles and the Jews. We're all the children of God if we accept Jesus Christ. So there is no Gentile court. There's nothing to be measured in the Gentile court. It should be empty. We should have turned it into a banquet hall or a fellowship hall so that the Gentiles and the Jews could sit down and eat together and enjoy each other's company and go out and evangelize the world. Did we do that? And the Baptists can't even get along with each other. The Methodists are fighting with each other. The Nazarenes have I was in a town one time where the Nazarenes had 3 churches within 1.5 miles of each other. And they all had 20 people sitting in them. And they couldn't pay the utilities. And all they could do was fight. If we spend all of our time fighting with each other, we're not going to spend any time loving each other. And nobody going to want to be around us any more than they want to be on a bar on Friday night. We're supposed to be different. We're not supposed to be like the world. And I'm here because this church is, and I'm not there because a lot of churches aren't. Okay? Amen?
Amen.
It says here, it uses 2 different terms that are referring to the exact same thing. It says 42 months, and it says 1,260 days. And it's referring to the exact same time. Why would the Bible do that? It does it for a specific reason. It does it fairly often. And every time you find it, it does it for the same reason. So you want me to tell you? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah. It does it so that you will know it's literal. Sometimes the Bible uses a term like a day, and it means a period of time to accomplish something. It was the day of the Lord. It's the day that the Lord brought a message for a period of the Lord. The day of the church is the 2,000 years between the first coming of Christ and the second coming. Well, it's the 2,000 years between the crucifixion of Christ and the second coming. So that's the day of the Lord, or the day of the church. And it's figurative, it's talking about a period of time. But when it says 42 days and 1,200, or 42 months and 1,260 days, it's saying this is literal. This time is specific, and you can measure it by the day, and it will happen. If you go back in Daniel, it talks about the 70 months of years, or the 70 weeks of years. Okay, it says the word week, but it actually means 7. Okay, and so, but it says it's 70 weeks of years in a couple different ways in a couple different places. So can you literally take it for 490 years? Yes, you can. Because from the proclamation that it talks about to return and rebuild the temple to the 490 years down, minus 7, which is a reserve for the end, so it's 483 years. From the proclamation to rebuild the temple to the end of the 483 years, if you walk through those years and go where you're supposed to go, you'll be standing at a manger looking at the Christ child to the day. So it meant 483 years from that proclamation to the birth of Jesus Christ. 483. What I said? 93. Why are you looking at
Is
me?
that right? I'm just looking. Sorry. I won't look anymore.
That's how I'm supposed to look at you. I'm the boss here. No. Hopefully Jesus. What do you think 2 witnesses are? 16 commentaries will give you 16 different answers. But that's just having fun with it. Who do you think there?
Who is it, Zach?
I think it's the 2 prophets that was taken up to heaven that's gonna come back.
2 prophets of what?
That was taken, ascended up to heaven, and they're supposed to come back.
That is the general belief, that there were 2 people who didn't die in the Bible. And what's the Bible say? For every man there's a time to die and then the judgment. Okay. So if you apply that, who do you come up with?
Elijah, or is it
Elijah's one of
Elijah?
them.
Okay, I can never.
Elijah's one of them. Who's the other one? In Genesis. He was walking with God, and when they got to the end of the walk, huh?
Was it Enoch?
Enoch.
So that was the-
It was Enoch. Enoch and Elijah. Neither one of them died. Both of them were.
They're high-fiving. They're proud to have an answer
We're just
right.
praising Jesus.
Okay, so we got Enoch and Elijah. Now, also look at the description here. They call down fire from heaven. Who's that sound like? Elijah. He called down fire from heaven and at the altar on top of the mountain. They were able to stop the rain and bring a drought. Who does that sound like? Elijah. For 7 days, or for 7 years, it didn't rain, and then he prayed, and the cloud formed out over the Mediterranean Sea, and it started to come in. Sounds like Elijah. Enoch, we don't know a whole lot about Enoch. He may have been a lot like that. We just have one little passage in Genesis about one day he was walking with God, and they were talking, and he decided to go home and not, to go to heaven and not go back home. But if we knew more about him, he might fit into this. I think it's a little bit of a stretch to say they didn't die, so they have to be the 2. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to take my reputation on that explanation. But there is a verse to support it. There is definitely verses to support Elijah, for sure. And the Enoch thing, I wouldn't be surprised if it was, but I'm not going to sit here and tell you that's the one, because the Bible doesn't really tell us. It gives us some clues, but it doesn't really say it specifically in those words. So I'm not going to send you home with that. These are the 2 olive trees and the 2 lampstands that stand before the Lord of the earth. Okay, what do olive trees and lampstands have to do with this?
To lighten the way and peace, to light the way and for peace.
Okay. The lampstand lights the way, and it generally prophets are referred to as the light. Okay. Now, what about the olive trees? What does the olive tree represent all through the Bible, from Genesis all the way to Revelation?
Ointment.
Huh?
Ointment to oil. The oil to.
The oil of it. But remember last Easter we did the olive tree, the withering of the olive tree. And what did the olive tree
Israel.
represent? Huh?
Something to do with
Israel.
Israel?
It represents Israel. So these are going to be two Israelites, and they're going to have these characteristics, and they're probably going to be two former prophets because of the lampstand thing, because they're going to bring the light again, as they did before, and they stand before the Lord of the earth. So they're in heaven now. Okay. Any questions?
I thought the big.
Anybody not have a question?
I thought the fig tree was the fig tree, not an olive tree, or is it the same?
Was a fig tree. You're right. It was a fig tree.
Stump the teacher. I'm sorry.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to look that up. I'll bring you back more on that next week, because I am wrong on that. It was a fig tree that was withered, not an olive tree. Thank you.
I only remember that because I love that lesson so much.
Yeah, and it was the fig leaves that they used to cover their sin when they found their. I am wrong. That's the third
You can admit
time.
it.
Third time.
Hey, we do have this recording,
That's the
right?
third time since 1963. No, let me look that up. And bring you something on that next week. Sorry.
I have a
I'm giving-
question I have a question on the two witnesses that will be, they're gonna be down here on earth, like walking around, right? In sackcloth, is
Yes.
that right?
They're going to be sent by God from the throne. They stand before the throne. They stand before the Lord of the earth. So they're in heaven now. They're going to come down for 42 days, which is going to be at the end of the seals. And they're going to prophesy for 42 days from the end of the seals to the end of the trumpets. Because we're going to blow the seventh trumpet here in just a little bit. And that's when they're going to die. So now, when we get into chapter 12 and 13, we're going to see the rise of the beast. And he rises up in the middle of the 7 years. And that's exactly when God sends these two guys. And they are a thorn in his side for 3.5 years. Everything he says, they say, no, 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 no. And if anybody tries to hurt him, they call fire down from heaven, and the fire destroys them. So every time this guy sends out every time the beast sends out a group of assassins or a hit squad to take these guys out, he called down fire from heaven and just turn them into cinders. And that's what Elijah did when they were doing the sacrifice on the side of the mountain. That's what Elijah did. So I would bet my next paycheck is going to be Elijah. I'm just not going to buy into Enoch right now, although he does fit in a lot of ways. And if we knew more about him, it might be obvious that he is one of these people. Any other questions? Are you okay? Having a good time? You looked at me blank. Okay. whoever wants to harm them must die, probably indicates that they're gonna be, the beast is gonna be continually trying to harm them. He's gonna be in this struggle with them,
So why don't they just kill the beast?
because he has a role to play. He has a role to play.
He's supposed to be able to do his thing, right? I mean, it says he's supposed to be able, he's supposed to have so many years to do his thing, right?
3.5 years, he's gonna do his thing, and 3.5 years, these guys are opposing. If there was no evil in the world, would we have a choice about what we do? No. If, he gives us a choice. Are you gonna choose God and listen to these two witnesses? Or are you gonna choose the beast and take his mark and listen to what he has to say? He has a place to play in this scenario. Now, after this guy is locked up in the pit in verse 19 of Revelation, what happens to the world?
Becomes perfect again. It becomes the way it was meant to be.
There's no death, there's no sickness, there's no hunger. Every tree blooms. The lions lay down with the lamb and don't eat meat anymore. They go back to being vegetarians like it was initially in Genesis. There's no rebellions, there's no wars. They turn all the swords into plowshares.
Go
Yeah.
ahead, I just got a question when you're done.
Go ahead.
Is this where the Jehovah Witnesses get that it's gonna be heaven on earth instead?
Yeah, but they start in before. They think that if you're gonna be in the 144,000, you have to be a Jehovah's Witness, that the 144,000. And who does the Bible say the 144,000 are gonna be? 12 from the tribe of Judah, 12 from the tribe of Benjamin. They're gonna be Jews.
They're gonna,
The
right.
Jews are finally gonna pick up the ball and start running
Start
with it,
running with it.
like they should have done the day Jesus ascended into heaven. And the Jews rejected him too, except for the disciples and a couple hundred people in the upper room. Everybody else rejected him. Now the Jews are going to take over. So that Jehovah's Witness thing, yeah, if I was wanting you to come and stay at my church and not tell you the truth, but I may call, that statement is political. It's not scriptural. Hey, come and be a Jehovah's Witness, and maybe you'll be one of the 144,000 if you work hard enough. And what the Bible say? We don't get there by works.
No.
We can't earn our way in. We can't do it by works. So the whole thing's in conflict with Scripture. But the guy that started the Jehovah's Witnesses, boy, people flock to him. Gee, if I hand out enough flyers, I'll be one of the elite. You sure will. Well, I'm gonna give me some flyers. And they all came to my house.
I had a goat one time when I was probably about 15 years old. And every time a Jehovah's Witness would pull up in the driveway, that goat would jump up in the middle of the hood of the car. And would not let him out of the car. And anybody else would pull up the driveway, the goat would leave him alone, except for my sister-in-law.
Dogs are very intelligent animals.
It was a goat.
Oh, the goat.
It was a goat.
The goat.
He wouldn't let Jehovah's Witness out of the car.
They're not intelligent, ask dogs.
The animal kingdom is probably smarter than we are.
No.
You gotta go, Brett.
These goats ate my tomatoes. They were not smart. They're on a watch here.
Remember the guy that had the legion of demons and Jesus cast them out and they said, give us some place to go, and Jesus says, you can go to the pigs. And the pigs jumped off the cliff and drowned at the bottom of the... Pigs are smarter than those. You can get a human being to live with a demon a whole lot faster than you can get a pig to do it. The pig shit jumped off the cliff. He said, we're not doing this. And off they went, and we gotta go upstairs. We will